take a look at creating an average program. And I'm going to do a file, new project, Windows Form application, and I'll call this example average. Specifically, I'm going to use fields. Or using a field, or actually fields is fine. Click OK. And the idea is that I'm going to have a text box right there, and when I click the button, it's going to calculate the average based upon the number that's input and all the ones before it. So I need some labels here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I guess I should change the font before I start rearranging everything. So I'm doing rectangular select, and I'm choosing a font. And let's change all those 20s, so I can see them a little bit better. Oops. And then move that up there, move something right beside it. There. And here. Maybe I'll have 2 more labels. So I'm going to right click on that and choose copy, and then right click in the open space here and say paste. Right click again and choose paste. Okay, I don't got things lined up quite right here, so if I grab those, then over here, make horizontal spacing equal, make vertical spacing equal. If I choose that, it won't necessarily give me what I want, but I can move these up now. Sometimes it takes a little playing to get those spacing correct. Okay, so over here in the text, I want this to be the sum of the numbers currently input. And this one, I want it to be the count. And this one will be the average. There we go. And these I want to make zeros. There we go. I guess I can do a rectangular select them all, and change the text of all those to 0. Okay. So I'm down here, and I'm going to change what that button says to calculate. Make it a little bit bigger. And I need to name these, so I'm going to name this. I'll just call this TB_num. So I'll go under the name, TB_num. Call this sum, so this will be LB sum. This will be count, so this will be LB count. And this will be LB average. Okay, now at first I'm going to program this incorrectly, and then we're going to talk about why is it an issue. Okay, so I'm going to double click calculate. I'll be bringing in a number, so I need to declare it. I'll just say it's an integer. So integer number, and I'll say num is equal to, and then I got int.parse, and then tb_num.txt. Okay, so we're bringing a number. I also need sum declared. And count. Now initially my count's 0. And my sum initially is 0. then down here, after I bring in num, I'm going to say count is equal to count plus 1, and num, or sum, is equal to sum plus num. And then I want to print out those results in my labels. So I'll do lb underscore count. And I don't know what I did wrong there, but let's try it again. lb underscore and count. And dot text is equal to count dot toString. Then lb underscore average or sum dot text is equal to sum dot toString. And then last one, the average. So I guess I need to calculate the average first. And average probably wouldn't be bad for that to be a double. So let me come up here. Double average. And I'll set that equal to 0 initially. So then I'll come down here and I'll say average is equal to sum divided by count. Now in some programming languages that would work, sum divided by count. But in others, when you divide an integer by an integer, then you won't necessarily get decimals. So we'll see. And then I'll print that out. So lb underscore average dot text is equal to average dot toString. Okay, I don't have any errors. So let's run this and see what we get. Then we'll talk about what I did wrong. Go. So put 5 in here, choose calculate. 5 divided by 1 is 5. Yeah, that's perfect. Put 6 in here, click calculate. 6 and 1. I meant this to be 11 at this point and this to be 2. Didn't work. And the reason why is since we're initializing it right within this code here, each time you click the button, it'll reset everything to 0. So it doesn't work. These are called local variables. And actually, you can see I put my mouse over it. It tells me it's a local variable, which means you cannot access it after this code gets done running. Well, there's something called field in Visual Studio that allow, or C# that allow us to handle this. Instead of declaring it down here, we're going to go up here and we're going to declare it the sum up here. Now there's something additional we'll have to add on to that, which I'll talk about, and then I'll put count up here. Now I want to come down and get rid of these declarations down here. There we go. Now we're going to put private in front of these. So I'm going to say private, int, and I'll put private here. Although we'll talk more about this when we talk about objects, the idea is this tells it who can use sum and count. And when you say private, that means we can only use it within this class. Now this class is called form1, so that's the only place we can use it. But now let's see what happens. Okay, I have increasing count, sum is equal to sum plus num. Now if I run it, I might still have some other coding problems. But put 5 in, click calculate. 5 divided by 1 is 5. I put 6 in here, click calculate. 11 divided by 2 is not 5, but it's 5.5. So this doesn't look like it's doing my integers right. If I put 7 in, 18 divided by 3, I didn't mean to put that. I put 2. I'll quit putting things that work out nice. It's 33. There you go. 53 divided by 5 is not 10. So it's doing integer division. Remember what I said about how some programming languages handle this well, some do not handle it at all? One easy way to get around that is to do a cast on one of your variables. So I say that one's a double. Now when this runs, it's going to automatically convert this to a double and then divide it by count. Let's see if that handles our problem. So if I come up here and I put 5 in, click calculate, 2, 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. 1, and we get a bunch of decimal places. I don't like that formatting, so let me come up down here, and I want to put in 2 to round it to take it to 2 decimal places. Okay, so now I'll put in 1, 3, 5. What numbers do I have to put in there so it doesn't come out perfect anymore? There it is. 7.75. And you see that no matter what number I put in here, it recalculates it. Now, after I get done inputting the number, maybe I want to put another number in. So I could even enhance this further. We could say that our LB, or no TB, our text box num.text is equal to blank. That gets rid of whatever number we put in there. And then I could say TB underscore num dot, see if I can remember it, focus. I don't know if I have to put true on that or not. Let me just put a semicolon and see if that works. Obviously it doesn't. Go to the end there. And set focus equal true. See if it still doesn't like that. Cannot assign this as a method. So that tells me I need to put the parentheses on there. Method means we potentially pass in parameters. That's why I had to have the parentheses there. Okay, so now if I run this, okay, I put a number in here, I put 5, I click calculate, it puts my cursor back in this box and sets it to blank. The dot text equals, and then the empty string there is what gets rid of that. Then I can put 2 in, and choose calculate, put 4 in, calculate, 7, calculate, and then it just builds. Sometimes when you use these up here, it's to make your life a little bit easier. The coding is simplified because you want to keep track of some kind of value from one state to another state, from one button click to another button click, and that's how you can do it. These are called global variables. Now they call these fields in C#, but the concept is global variables if you've seen that in other programming languages. Now I set them equal to 0 here, but sometimes you can set it equal to 0 in right here where it initializes. I think you have to put it after the initialize component, but it doesn't hurt anything to actually put them there either. Now this right here, this may seem weird if you're taking algebra. Sum is equal to sum plus num. Well, what it does is it takes the previous value of sum, and the previous value of sum will be whatever it was before, and then it adds num to it, and then it takes that sum and then assigns it back to sum, so it assigns it to itself. Now in algebra that wouldn't make any sense. If I said x is equal to x plus 3, it wouldn't make any sense. But from a programming standpoint, let's say x is equal to 1 to begin with. We got 1 plus 3 is 4, so then it puts 4 in x. Next time through, 4 plus 3 is 7, and then it puts 7 in x, and so forth. But that's how you read that code there. And that's an example of using fields, or global variables as some people think of them. Let me save that and close that. Where's close solution? There it is.